cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And that shift begins with the one conversation most people spend their entire lives avoiding: the honest conversation with the person in the mirror. Not your boss, not your parents, not the economy. You. Because the quality of your life will never exceed the quality of your leadership. And leadership always starts internally. The moment you point your finger outward, you give your power away. The moment you blame the economy, your upbringing, the tax system, your spouse, your boss, or bad luck, you have officially handed the steering wheel of your life to someone else. That may feel comforting, but it is fatal to growth. Victimhood is seductive because it removes responsibility, but it also removes control. And in the entire history of human progress, no victim has ever built anything extraordinary. High-level leaders live by a different standard. It's called 100% responsibility. Not 50, not 99, 100. Even when it's unfair, even when it's not your fault. Because responsibility is not about blame, it's about power. When you own the outcome, you own the ability to change it. The second you say, "This is on me," something incredible happens. You regain control. You stop waiting, you stop hoping, you start acting. The world is not obligated to reward your potential. It only responds to performance. Waiting for the government to change, waiting for your boss to notice you, waiting for the perfect opportunity is the mindset of someone who has already decided to lose slowly. Leaders don't wait for the wind to change. They adjust their sails. The wind blows on all of us. Same economy, same clock, same 24 hours. The difference is not the conditions. The difference is the standards. Once you accept full responsibility, discipline becomes unavoidable. Discipline is not punishment. It's freedom with structure. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Everyone has goals. Few people have systems, and systems are what win. Most people today are addicted to motivation. They watch a video, feel inspired, get emotional, and mistake that feeling for progress. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Success does not run on emotion. It runs on habit. Discipline is doing what needs to be done long after the feeling disappears. Discipline is quiet. It's unglamorous. It doesn't get applause. It looks like waking up early when no one is watching. It looks like reading when others are scrolling. It looks like making the call you don't want to make, training when you're tired, showing up when excuses are available. Discipline is the daily vote you cast for the person you are becoming. You don't need a miracle. You need a schedule. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer negotiations with yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, your self-respect erodes. Every time you keep one, your confidence compounds. A disciplined life sends a powerful signal to the world. It says, this is a person of substance. This is someone who can be trusted with responsibility, opportunity, and influence. That signal is magnetic. True leadership, however, does not end with self-mastery. It expands outward through contribution. The most misunderstood law of success is this: the fastest way to get more is to give more. Not emotionally, practically, strategically. Value creates value. If you want more money, help more people. If you want influence, solve bigger problems. If you want respect, become useful. The world does not reward consumption, it rewards creation. Consumers ask, what can I get? Leaders ask, what can I build? What can I improve? Who can I serve? There is nothing weak about service. It is the ultimate leverage. When you shift your focus from taking to contributing, your entire posture changes. You stop chasing transactions and start building impact. Wealth flows toward those who create outcomes for others. This is not philosophy, this is economics. Look at every individual with massive success and influence. They found a way to serve at scale. They solved a problem that mattered. They improved lives. They didn't obsess over money, they obsessed over usefulness. Money followed as a byproduct. And this brings us to patience, not passive patience, strategic patience. We live in a culture that wants the reward without the repetition, the prize without the process, the highlight reel without the years of obscurity. But nature does not negotiate. The law of attraction is inseparable from the law of harvest. You plant first, you wait, you water, you protect, then you reap. You cannot rush growth, you can only sabotage it. Leaders understand timing. They respect seasons. They know that the work done in silence is what creates noise later. While others quit because results are slow, leaders stay consistent. While others chase shortcuts, leaders compound fundamentals. Patience does not mean slowing down your effort. It means refusing to quit when results are invisible. It means trusting that the seeds you plant today are building roots you cannot yet see. The strongest trees grow underground first. This is where most people fail, not because they're not capable, but because they're not willing to wait while becoming. They want proof before commitment. Leaders commit before proof. They trust the process because they trust the work. And then, one day, it happens. The momentum shifts. The results accelerate. The world takes notice. People call it luck. They call it timing. They call it an overnight success. But you know better. You know it was discipline stacked on discipline, responsibility stacked on responsibility, contribution stacked on contribution, over time. Leadership is not a title, it is an identity. It is the decision to raise your standards when no one is forcing you to demand more from yourself than the world demands from you, to stop wishing it were easier and start becoming better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Problems are the training ground of leaders. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for comfort. Comfort is expensive. It costs you your potential. Choose growth. Choose responsibility. Choose discipline. Choose contribution. Start today. Not next week, not next month, not when conditions improve. Direction can change in an instant. Destiny follows those who decide, act, and refuse to retreat.
If you want to shock the world, you have to disappear first. That idea alone already separates the amateurs from the dangerous few, because disappearing goes against everything modern culture rewards. We are trained to be visible, reactive, vocal, and constantly available. Silence feels like weakness in a world addicted to noise. But history has never been shaped by the loudest voices. It has always been shaped by the quiet ones who were working while everyone else was talking. Real power is never found in the announcement. It's found in the accumulation, in the unseen hours, in the discipline nobody claps for. Silence is not the absence of ambition. Silence is ambition under control. Most people misunderstand silence because they confuse it with hiding. Silent execution is not hiding from the world. It is hiding from distraction. It is choosing precision over performance, focus over feedback, depth over applause. When you stop talking about what you're going to do, something uncomfortable happens. The pressure turns inward. There is no audience to impress, no reassurance to lean on, no dopamine drip from validation. All that remains is you, your standard, and the work. That's where most people fold. They say they want success, but what they actually want is reassurance. They want to feel like they're on the right path without having to walk it yet. Silence removes that illusion. Silence demands proof. This is why silent execution is not popular. It is not glamorous. It does not feel productive in a social sense, but it is brutally effective. Think about how growth actually works in nature. Real growth never happens in chaos. It happens in controlled environments, in places where conditions are stable, protected, and intentional. That's what a greenhouse is. It shields fragile life from hostile elements until it is strong enough to survive on its own. Your mind needs the same protection. Most people expose their ideas to every passing opinion. They let random conversations shape their confidence. They let social media dictate their urgency. They let other people's fears rewrite their goals. That is not openness. That is negligence. Silent execution is the decision to control your environment. When you stop announcing your plans, you stop inviting interference. You stop absorbing unnecessary skepticism. You stop wasting mental energy on defending ideas that haven't even been built yet. Instead of explaining yourself, you start refining yourself. The difference is massive. Cognitive energy is your most valuable asset. Every unnecessary conversation drains it. Every argument taxes it. Every attempt to be understood steals it. Silent execution redirects that energy toward mastery. This is why elite performers across industries instinctively withdraw during critical phases. Athletes disappear before championships. Founders vanish before launches. Artists isolate before breakthroughs. They understand that attention fragments performance. America loves the myth of hustle, but the reality is focus. The best operators don't do more, they eliminate more. They cut noise until only signal remains. When you go silent, time stretches. Hours feel longer. Progress feels slower at first. That's because you are no longer confusing activity with achievement. You are forced to confront the gap between where you are and where you claim you're going. That confrontation is painful, but pain is information. Silence reveals weakness. It exposes inconsistency. It highlights excuses. And once those things are visible, they can be eliminated. This is where silent execution becomes dangerous, because while others are busy curating an image, you are engineering a transformation. While they are posting intentions, you are stacking evidence. While they are narrating effort, you are building leverage. And leverage is what changes lives. The American psyche has always respected results more than rhetoric. You can talk your way into a room, but you can't talk your way into legacy. At some point, the numbers speak, the physique speaks, the outcomes speak. This is why the reveal is so powerful. When progress is hidden, impact is magnified. When effort is private, results feel sudden. People call it overnight success because they never saw the work. They weren't meant to. Shock comes from contrast, from the gap between who you were and who you became. That gap only exists when you don't dilute it with updates. Think about the moments that genuinely move people, not inspire, move. It's not the journey vlog, it's the before and after. It's the quiet person who shows up different. It's the transformation no one predicted. That effect is impossible if you document every step. Silence allows momentum to compound without interruption. It allows identity to shift privately before it is tested publicly. That's critical because identity precedes behavior. If you announce a new identity before it's stable, the first resistance will collapse it. Silent execution lets identity solidify under pressure, not applause. Jim Rohn understood this deeply. He taught that personal development is the foundation of all success, but he also warned against premature exposure. You don't earn influence by claiming authority. You earn it by becoming undeniable. Your bank account is a language. Your body is a language. Your calendar is a language. They speak even when you don't. If you have to tell people you're disciplined, your habits are negotiating. If you have to tell people you're a leader, your influence is weak. If you have to tell people you're successful, your results are fragile. Real success removes the need to speak about it. Silence is not passive. It is assertive restraint. It is saying, I don't need your agreement to proceed. That mindset alone filters out most distractions. The world is full of advice, opinions, and commentary. Most of it comes from people who have never built anything meaningful. Silent execution protects you from outsourcing your confidence to unqualified voices. When you go dark, something else happens that nobody warns you about. Loneliness. Not social loneliness, but identity loneliness. You no longer get to borrow confidence from reactions. You have to generate it internally. That's hard. That's why most people can't stay silent for long. They reach for their phone, they hint, they tease, they seek micro-validation to relieve the pressure. But if you can endure that discomfort, it forges something rare: internal authority. Internal authority means you don't need permission, you don't need encouragement, you don't need consensus. You move because your standard demands it. That internal compass is what creates consistency, and consistency, not intensity, is what compounds into dominance. Silent execution teaches patience, not passive patience, but disciplined patience, the kind that delays reward in favor of magnitude, the kind that understands that timing matters. Revealing too early weakens impact. Revealing too late wastes leverage. Silence gives you control over timing, and timing is everything. Most people want to be seen as they build. The elite want to be seen after they've built. That difference changes how the world responds to you. When you speak from results, people listen. When you speak from intention, people tolerate. That's the harsh truth. So, here is the reality check. Going silent will not make you feel powerful at first. It will make you feel small, invisible, unimportant. That's the ego dying. Let it. Because what replaces it is competence. Competence doesn't need hype. It doesn't need reassurance. It creates calm confidence. It slows your speech. It sharpens your decisions. It removes urgency from things that don't matter and intensifies focus on the ones that do. This is the posture of people who win long term. So the strategy is simple, but not easy. You stop announcing. You stop hinting. You stop storytelling. You stop explaining the future to people who are still negotiating their present. You build quietly, relentlessly, methodically. You lift the weights when no one is watching. You study when no one is praising. You execute when no one is validating. You become allergic to noise. For 90 days, you treat silence like a weapon. You use it to sharpen focus. You use it to compress time. You use it to build an edge that can't be faked. And when the results finally surface, and they will, you don't explain how hard it was. You don't narrate the struggle. You don't seek admiration. You let the contrast speak. Because by then, the silence will have done its job. You won't need to shock the world. Your results will do it for you.